She's got power. And the fuel pump works. Let's find that fuse. All right, see if we can get this thing in. She's in. She's finally in the garage after sitting outside since January. Shout out to my wife for helping me push this thing in the garage yesterday in the blazing sun. Sun came out, it was like 80 degrees. It was a beautiful early May day, but we're back to May weather right now. Pouring rain. Lawn looks good though. Can't argue with that. Anyways, this thing is in its resting place for the next, I don't know, however long it takes me to get a motor in here and get it running. So again, here's our blank canvas. You guys have already seen all this. Here's what we assembled last time. This is my fully built Texas short block, 9-thread DB casting heads. Sweet motor setup. So up next is timing, which I have laid out a piece of cardboard here. This is my Ford Racing Performance Parts timing set. So chains, gears, guides, tensioners, everything else. You can also see I've already started to lay out our cam followers or rockers or whatever you want to call them on these dual overhead cam Fords. Probably unnecessary, but with any valve train project, it's usually good to keep your stuff in order so that the cam lobe that is worn to this exact roller, you know, is not being flipped with something else. So just a good habit to get into. I've already done these two right here. I probably should have done this. I'm kind of kicking myself now before I put the heads on, but I figured, oh, it'll be easier to, you know, maneuver the head with it right on the motor. But I forgot about the fact that this is an interference motor. So that what that means basically is that if it's not timed correctly, the valves will hit the pistons. So I have the crank in the safe position right now. By the way, the reason I'm doing all this is because in order to install your timing stuff, we need to position these cam gears in the right spot. And in order to do that, we need to get all the tension off of them and all, you know, off of the valve springs. So anyways, right now I've got the cam or the crank in the safe position, meaning none of the pistons are at the top of their bore. And I'm also verifying it with my Vivor borescope, which you guys saw a couple videos ago in the Trans Am video. This is their new tri-camera design. So it has a camera on both sides and then of course on the front too. And the advantage of that is, of course, if we take cylinder number, I believe this is 7 here on the Fords, go in there, boom. This is what I just did. I was verifying. We come up here, that black area kind of to the left of the screen there, that's the exhaust valve. Then we can switch over to the other camera. By the way, check out that beautiful crosshatch. Just click and hold this button. Now we're facing down. You can see that Manley forged piston. Hold again. Boom, there is an exhaust valve. So we can basically switch from this way to down to this way, all with one borescope. These things are so affordable now. If you are doing any sort of work in your garage or even your home, and you want to be able to see in an area that you can't see, you know, with your naked eye, just get one of these. I have 2 of them now. I use them all the time. Just a great tool to have in your arsenal. If you guys use the code in the description, you're gonna get, I think it's 5% off this Vivor borescope. Definitely check them out. That being said, let's get right to work in this video. Marauder is in, motor is ready for assembly, so let's do that. Let's get this thing timed up, get the timing cover on, get the water pump in, everything else. Of course, I cheated a little bit in the thumbnail of the first video to get some attention to this build, you know? I just plopped the blower on there, plopped my beautiful wrinkle blue valve covers on there, a couple other things, but this is in reality where we're at, so let's build this thing up. Making real solid progress here. On the motor side, we've got this thing 100% timed. Got all the lash adjuster, got all the cam followers out, as I mentioned. Keep them organized. Then dusted off the old Ford Racing Performance Parts timing kit that had, 500 miles on it. Slapped that on. I always like to use a paint marker, make sure that I stay in time, and it's really easy to see. You can see the discolored links on the dot there. Same thing up here. And then obviously behind the timing cover as well. Reuse the gaskets because, again, pretty much brand new. Put this thing on. Don't forget RTV in the corners where it meets the head, and the oil pan down there. Water pump, same thing. Low mileage, slap that back on. Just waiting for the pulley. Just got my balancer on using my harmonic balancer install tool. I wish I bought one of those like 10 years ago rather than fighting with bolts and stuff. It makes installing balancers literally too easy. So got my brand new bolt over there. We'll put that in a little bit later, but this is basically a long block that's ready to go. All we got to do is put the followers back on, which now that this thing is timed is no big deal. We'll just make sure that the cam is on the base circle. Pop those things back in, should be good to go. We can put my beautiful wrinkle blue valve covers on there with the stainless hex head hardware that I got from McMaster. Should look pretty sweet. But right now I think I'm going to focus towards the accessory drive a little bit. I've got so many 6-rib belts over the years that I don't want to order one unless I need it. I'd like to try and use up some of the many belts I have over there in that gray cabinet. So I'd like to see if I can't get the accessory drive on, make sure I have the right size belt. Same thing, I might plop the Supercharger on and the lower pulley, which we'll pull out of the box here in a second. See if I have that right size as well. Because I'm about to do another big-ish Rock Auto order for anything that I missed the first time. You can see I'm making a list here of Marauder, as we're calling this thing, parts. So I basically, today and this evening, basically just trying to get ahead of what parts I'm going to need so that we're not waiting on parts. Right off the bat, I noticed in the bag of hardware, the 2 bags of hardware that I got with this thing, there's no bell housing bolts, so I'll order some of those. I just ordered a heat exchanger, exact same one that I used on the Cobra, that CX Racing knockoff or whatever it was. I'm going to have to figure out some sort of lines. I ordered an OEM intercooler pump, working on the battery relocation, which we need to move over here because the Supercharger intake comes over this way. You know, some other things that we'll get to as we go, but I've spent some doll hairs today, all right? We're making this happen. Also, been doing a little research. This is not the factory coolant expansion tank. Normally it goes right here. I'll put up a picture of that right now. I think that this might be included with the Vortec kit. I don't see... Oh, it does have a Ford part number on it. Interesting. I'm going to Google that. But this is the... I think this is what would come with the Vortec kit. So that's interesting, but I think I'm going to order a coolant tank as well. This is where a lot of people put the intercooler tank for the Eat and Swap Cobras. Same thing with the power steering reservoir. This is another Vortex Supercharger mod. You can see by the aluminum bracket that someone made, or maybe it came in the kit, but that normally I think goes right here. So I'm just trying to order anything that we're going to run into, get ahead of it. I'm sure there's going to be other stuff, but I'm just trying to get ahead of it. But this thing is coming together. We got a long block here. Let's get some accessories on there, get this thing closer to getting ready to go in the car. That's a nice touch. Just found this in my pile of parts. It's basically new Ford oil cap. And just like that, we have a now sealed up long block. Got my beautiful Ford wrinkle blue valve covers on there. Of course, added the stainless hex hardware and washers that I got from McMaster-Carr for like nothing. And what a difference these details make. If I could find one of these old crusty ones, I'll show you. That's a factory bolt. I mean, it would probably clean up okay, but compared to a nice stainless Allen head or hex head, details, baby, details. Also gapped and installed my NGK TR6 plugs. Got those things in. All 32 lash adjusters are installed. Looking more and more complete. Also, I remembered that I attempted to measure for a belt, an inner belt, but I remembered that you can't really do that because the power or the AC and power steering are in the car. So I spent $16 on Rock Auto, did another big Rock Auto order last night, and got just a brand new belt. We'll just have extras if we need it. Over here, the best part about this swap they're doing, of course, is the Supercharger. This is the factory Eaton that came off the Sonic Blue 2003 Cobra. I took it apart, separated the three main pieces, the blower itself, the intercooler, which is actually made for Ford by Garrett. So took all this apart because if you recall, obviously this thing used to be burning oil. It was sucking oil up into the brick here. Wanted to make sure this was all cleaned out. Got a bunch of nasty oil out of there. So this thing is nice and clean now. Same thing with the lower intake, or turkey pan as some people call it. This thing is nice and clean, ready for reassembly. Just got to scrape off this gray RTV, put a new bead on, use the bolts that I got from the last McMaster order. We can probably reuse these. If not, I've got like 100 of them, but the factory bolts are one-time use, so don't do what a lot of people do and break them off in here when you try and reuse them. So yeah, all that's left to do here is clean, reassemble, put it all back together, and then we can plop the whole thing up here once I figure out what I have to do for a coolant tube. I don't know if I have the Cobra one or the Marauder ones in the trunk, but I should probably add that to my list of stuff to figure out sooner than later, because we kind of need to drop that on for the Supercharger. Anyways, let's keep going with engine assembly here. know about you guys, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. Just like that, it looks like we've got a basically complete Terminator motor. Obviously need to add the front accessories and stuff, but got the blower completely cleaned out, degreased, surgically clean, reapplied the silicone around the intercooler, cleaned everything up on the lower intake, gaskets on, new hardware for both the blower to lower intake and lower intake to heads. Thanks to the 50 pack that I got from McMaster last time I did this. Come around back here, I went with the Cobra style, I think this is like a heater core hose. I don't know what I did with the Marauder one, but basically the Marauder one does not fit under the Cobra intake. It would butt up against the lower intake there. So we're gonna use this one. And then of course I got the UPR head cooling mod installed. If it's not obvious from the factory, there would have been a freeze plug here. Or wait, which one is it? One of these has a freeze plug, and then the other one has something similar to this. But basically, head cooling mod connects the heads so you get more coolant flow between the heads. You don't get any hot spots in the cylinders back here. Of course, this is a little bit different than the Marauder one, and obviously this is not factory. So I think that what I'm gonna do, and I think it should work, is this one is gonna connect to one heater core line, and this one is gonna connect to the other. And some quick eyeballing and measurements tell me that that should connect to the one on the driver's side head, and this one should connect to the one on the passenger side head. And we obviously have plenty to work with. I think that the Marauder had some weird like cooling fittings up here or maybe up here or something, given that this hose is so freaking long, but doesn't matter. We're doing Terminator things, you know? So that should take care of that. I obviously had to go with the beautiful powered by SVT coil covers. I did a similar thing on the Sonic Blue 03 Cobra. And my plan was to do the same thing here. I was gonna paint these satin black, sand off the raised parts here, and then paint the SVT red. I'll put up a picture now of what that looks like. But I now see the wrinkle blue on top of the basically wrinkle silver here. And it just looks so clean like this. We got lots of silver, blue, silver, a little bit of satin black here. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think, but like, look at this right here. I just think this looks so clean. The stainless hardware, I had just enough stainless hardware to run some stainless Allen heads to keep that in. Also, obviously below this, got those OEM Ford coils that were in the shopping bag below this thing. So we got brand new coils in there. The TR6 plugs are in there. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Should I paint these satin black and do that, you know, red kind of thing here? Or do we leave them like this? I'm kind of leaning like this. It looks so good, so clean. I love it. So we're making really good progress. I'm still waiting on the inner belt from Rock Auto. I think it'll be here tomorrow, but I obviously want to keep progress rolling here. So I got some new parts from my friends over at Lightning Force Performance. So let's get those open, maybe get them bolted on. Looking more and more like a complete Terminator motor here. Plenum is on, throttle body is on, new gaskets, got our 60-pound injectors in, fuel rail is in and bolted down. Went with an on-3 coolant crossover delete. I actually did this on my Torch Red 04 Cobra turbo setup back in the day, and just threw these 90s on there. You can get this kit with a full fitting set, but I have so many AN fittings I decided to just see what I might need, and I might be able to put the whole thing together. But basically what this coolant crossover does is replaces one of these coolant crossover tubes. So this is the Marauder one, Marauder specific. This is the Cobra one, so we'll grab this one just to show you. This is what normally goes over here, connects the cooling passages on the two heads. Then this goes over to one of the radiator hoses over there. Coolant crossover delete just gets rid of that ugly thing and replaces it with these billet aluminum fittings and some braided AN line. And then this connects to your upper rad hose. I'll put up a picture of, I think, my 04 Cobra engine bay back in the day, how it looks. But basically now I just need to connect these to the upper rad hose when that time comes. And then I think like a small block Chevy thermostat goes in here. So I ordered one of those from Rock Auto. I think 180 degree thermostat. Should be here shortly. We've got some more work to do before then. On this side, more parts that I'm not using from the Cobra. This is the Marauder specific, I believe, oil filter adapter. I decided not to use the 03 Cobra oil cooler setup. I think the oil cooler is kind of unnecessary in this car, and also some guys claim that this thing doesn't work that well. This is the Marauder dipstick. I decided to try and use the Cobra one just because it seems like it like doesn't stick out from the block as far, and it looks cleaner to me. I compared the length of how far the dipstick sticks out into the pan, and it looks pretty similar, so I think we'll be good there. Motor mounts are on, exhaust manifold studs and brand new OEM Ford exhaust manifold gaskets are on there. But we ain't doing manifolds. You guys know better than that. Check out these brand new Stainless Works long tubes and a lower pulley kit from my friends over at Lightning Force Performance. LFP does so much, like 03 Cobra, Lightning, Coyote stuff, just basically all your performance Ford stuff. These guys do it. I've been buying parts from them since long before I had my YouTube channel, but they were excited to get on board with this build, and ordered this set of Stainless Works long tube headers from them. I think Stainless Works is one of the only companies that makes a long tube header for the Marauder. And these things took a few weeks to come in, basically built to order, but they are fully 304 stainless steel, all, you know, hand TIG welded together. Absolutely beautiful. They send them with these cats. We'll see if we're gonna use those or not. I'm not sure. Oh wow, looks like they come with O2 extenders as well. Also didn't realize they came with stainless header bolts. I ordered the studs, but nice to know that they have them there. Gasket maker, if you want to use that. Instructions, even. I mean, this is the difference between China headers and, you know, made here in the USA. You know, you pay for it, but this is quality right here. This is some nice stuff. Got your clamps ready to go. And then I also decided, because we've got a fully forged motor with ARP everything, we can afford to throw a little more boost at this motor. So we got the 293 upper, and then I went with a 4-pound lower. So I think that should get us, I don't know, between 15 and 17 pounds of boost, which should be just about right for pump gas and where the compression is at this thing. So I'm ready to throw these on, but this header is shipped with an EGR provision. I could buy a plug to go on here, but I don't ever have any plans to run that. So I think I'm just gonna, unfortunately, cut up my brand new $2,000 headers and bust out the TIG welder and like weld a quick cap of sorts on there. Then we can get the headers on. I'm still waiting from Rock Auto for the accessory drive pulley. Hopefully that shows up tomorrow. But in the meantime, we can start assembling this lower and then hopefully wrap up this whole motor, and it should be basically ready to drop into the Marauder. Oh my goodness, this thing is looking sweet. Got the Lightning Force Performance 4-pound lower pulley on. Got this bracket here. Use the factory idler. And then the factory alternator bracket goes on over there. This big old dinner plate pulley ready to go. Then of course I put my dark shadow gray painted pulley bridge on. Got my tensioner on here, which we repainted, and then put a brand new idler pulley on there, or tensioner pulley. Of course, grabbed one of my many Gates green belts to see just how this green would look with that blue, and yeah, looks awesome. And I was gonna end the video, but I just heard the UPS guy pull up outside, so let's open that box and do one more thing. Oh, for sale. Complete Terminator motor. Supercharger to blower, all accessories, brand new belt, fully forged rotating assembly, Texan block, ARP, everything. 15 grand, 10 grand, come get the roller. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next project. Just kidding, of course. But holy crap, look at this thing. This has got to be one of the better looking motors I've ever built. I mean, the colors are just doing it for me. The wrinkle blue valve covers, they're doing the thing, you know? I am leaning towards leaving these coil covers exactly as they are. The contrast, the wrinkle here with the wrinkle there, beautiful stainless hardware. It's just doing it for me. This looks like one of them there Ford GT motors. I think that's what I think that's where they originally did this wrinkle blue finish here. But, oh my goodness. It just looks so good. This is why, guys, this is why I didn't want to do this and then dump it into a 200,000 mile rotted, you know, clap box, basically. I had to find a low mileage, super clean car to put this absolute gem into. So, got a couple new parts here. Up first, the team over at Lightning Force Performance came through again, and I got all of their double bearing billet idlers. Not only are they stronger than the stock ones, which tend to break, got one right here. They're just kind of a hollow stamped steel design. You know, they might work okay for most factory applications for a little bit, but I've seen them break on stock cars. The Lightning Force Performance ones are a billet aluminum. These ones have double bearing, so bearing inside and out. And of course, you know, they just look sweet. I mean, look at these things. Looks beautiful on the pulley bridge. Got one down here. Also got their snub idler that kind of goes up here. This is not a factory idler, but this gives that belt just a little bit more cinch there to make sure it stays tight. You don't get any belt slip. The next one is an upgrade that we did on the Cobra build as well, and that is a Titan alternator from my buddy Ken over at KMJ Motorsports. He makes the best alternators for these Terminator motors, which are known for cooking alternators. It's got some science going on in here. He'll get you the right size pulley, which is actually from Lightning Force Performance as well. In my case, this is a 3.5 inch. Unfortunately, I've realized that I don't think our Marauder oil housing adapter is going to work. It basically puts the alternator will not go on. It hits on the cooling tube here. So I think we're going to have to use the Cobra setup, which is this one, and then the oil cooler setup there. Not the end of the world. We still got it. It still works fine, and we'll make it work. But this motor is done. Huge shout out to not only KMJ Motorsports, but also Lightning Force Performance for helping us out with a lot of the parts for this thing. I am so excited. So this thing is basically ready to go into there. We haven't even been under this thing yet. We got to get it up in the air. I think I'm going to pull the transmission, mate these two together, and then stab it all in as one. If you guys have worked on this platform before with the dual overhead cam motor, I'm open to tips and suggestions. I know that you cannot put these motors in from the bottom on these cars because the frame rails are too narrow and the big, you know, dual overhead cam heads will not fit through. So my plan is marry motor and transmission, get as much done as I can outside the car, probably take the hood off, and then hopefully stab the whole thing in through the bottom. Hopefully my engine crane has enough reach, but that's gonna do it for this one, guys. This motor is basically done. We just gotta get a belt that fits and figure out the oil cooler thing, and yeah, it's done. But that's assuming I don't wanna just let it sit here and just look at it, because it is gorgeous. But thank you guys for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video. We are rapidly approaching 100,000 subscribers, so double check the button, make sure you're subscribed. I will catch you in the next one.